Alright, let's continue with my Linux experience. The reason why we need to record our experience is because if we don't do that, after some time, we would have forgotten everything. Well, you see, I started using Linux around 1998, or early 1998, or maybe somewhat slightly earlier. Okay, during that time, GCC version is still 2.95. Is it 2.95 or 1 point something? Okay, it's really old. But even if it's old, we already have Ada, Fortran 77, right, C, NCC, C++. I think the C++ is the version before we actually have the standard template library, and we have Objective-C. And during the time, there are also some scripting languages available. Okay, we have the TCL. I think around that time, TCL is around the version 7 now. We can see that the TCL is actually, can we see the version? Okay, okay, we can't see the version. So now it's already TCL 8. So Perl, I think in the beginning, is it there already? I'm not sure it's there. Okay, I think it's starting. I don't really. I think we have Perl 1 or Perl 2. I never really use it, so I don't know. Okay, and Python 1.5 is already there. Okay, but I think in the beginning Python is not popular. At least not liked now. Okay, which is extremely popular. Well, in the early days, I basically just used the C language to do some work. Okay, the reason why I need to use C is because in Linux we have to compile from source code, okay, to build some executables, something like that. Okay, unlike now where we have internet and we can just connect to the internet and install a package straight away. Okay, so it's much more convenient these days, but in the past, the nice thing about it is we actually can learn a bit of programming. Okay, so yeah, okay. So that's before I actually continue my study in university. Okay, so when I continue my study in university, I continue using Linux, and I think at the time I installed something like Red Hat 7. Okay, and okay, I typeset. I started to learn LaTeX. Okay, all my reports or papers are typeset in LaTeX. Okay, there's no TeX at the time. Okay, now LaTeX is already obsolete, and we're using TeX these days. And okay, I think during the time the hard disk is no more than 8 gig. Okay, now the standard is 500 gig is the minimum standard, right? Okay, I think for some minimum should be 1 tera byte of hard disk space. Okay, but in the past, I think in the beginning Linux doesn't even support any hard disk which is more than 8 gig. Okay, I think only the latest kernel supports that. I think Red Hat 7 at the time probably doesn't even support that. And I remember the memory is very small at the time. Is it 8 meg that I have, I just can't recall. I know, I think my first laptop is something like 4 meg or 8 meg, okay, which runs Windows 90, Windows 95, right? Okay, something like that. Okay, so memory are very limited. So a lot of times compiling program, okay, we can cause the system to go out of memory, so swap is essential. I think the swap at the time we usually need to put in something like 2 or 3 times, or I mean 3 or 4 times of the memory. So maybe it's something like 256. Is it 256? I think not. I think usually we just have 20 or 30 meg for the swap. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Well, that's our memory fades as we grow, right? So what to do? Okay, yeah, at that time we have GCC 2.95, and okay, with that we can actually code in C. Right, C is rather simple for simple programming. Okay, so today I'll just try it out and see whether I still remember how to do C programming. Okay, with this kind of problems, Newton's method, something very simple. Okay, okay, using C. All right, so just try it out. So this one is Newton. So it includes standard io.h. Okay, I think the okay. So I'm using Joe's editor. Okay, I think it's the first editor I use. Okay, and the problem we need to solve is actually yeah, something very simple. Okay, so we define the function double function double okay, and then we just need to return the square of x minus 2, right? And yeah, okay, so we need do we need any mathematical library? No need. So I create another function here. Okay. All right, so yeah, okay, so since we are using Newton's method, I need to do a differentiation, and yeah, this is it. Okay, and Newton's method goes something like this. We need the initial guess. Let's just put 0. Okay, this is initial guess. Is it 0 here? Okay. Starting from initial estimate 2. Alright, so yeah, okay, so this is actually 2. So initial estimate. Okay, and then for loop is required. Okay, so let's create an integer, and yeah, equals to 0. So I don't need to. Okay, how many times? All right, here I think 7 times, right? Okay, so 7 times, and okay. So what should I print? I should have actually, this is the initial estimate. This is the new estimate. Okay. So for the new estimate, it's obtained from the O estimate in this way. Alright, and so every time I run this thing, I should print out the new estimate. Should be equals to how many decimal places should I be putting? So maybe 8. Okay, 12.8 F. Yeah, I think the coloring is not very nice, right? Okay, so okay, and finally, okay, I need the new line, so this is print F. So finally return 0, indicating there's no problem with the program, and yeah, okay, I can exit and compile. Anything wrong? Nothing. Okay, so yeah, apparently something is wrong. Okay, yeah, something is of course wrong, right? Because I never actually updated my X2 after that, so the O value, I mean the initial guess needs to be updated. Okay, so yeah, this is it. And okay, so if we need it, we can print it out. Okay, let's print out the initial estimate, right? Okay, which is the X1. So let's go ahead and compile it and run it. Okay, so apparently yeah, it goes to the exact value very quickly, right? Okay, apparently we can compare the result here with this okay, I think here it's how many decimal places? Okay, 12 decimal places. So let us just update this thing to change to 12 decimal places. 12, and then okay, so okay, yes, okay, we get basically the same result here, right? So yeah, okay, the iteration actually converges extremely fast. So okay, in the old days, the compiler is not as complex as these days. Okay, but it works. I mean, yeah. Okay. So after I graduated, then think I that time we already have Red Hat 9. Is it? I think around 2003 or something like that. We have Red Hat 9. Okay. Apparently this is the last downloadable Red Hat. Okay, after that, think Red Hat make the thing not freely downloadable. Okay, but you have to subscribe and pay a large amount of money. Okay, so those who actually have the resource to actually get hold of the source code and build their own, okay, actually come out with CentOS. Okay, on the other hand, Red Hat created a distribution called Fedora, okay, which is a platform for Red Hat to try out all kinds of new technologies. Well, I think Fedora actually introduced SE Linux in the very beginning, so I think I didn't continue to use Red Hat based distributions because I don't like SE Linux. Okay, I think yeah, okay. That at that time ICQ MSN is still popular, and we don't have Facebook yet. Okay, that time we have Friendster, okay, and Slashdot. Okay, but I think all these things are no longer popular these days. Okay, what can we do, right? Okay. So anyway, Python 2. Python 2 is actually used by Red Hat at the time for its Anaconda installer. I think it's also called Anaconda. Okay, these days we have Anaconda Python, but before Anaconda Python is around, okay, we already have Anaconda installer in Red Hat, or which is written in Python. Okay, so Python 2 is there, so well then it's yeah, okay, so I started to learn Python 2. Why did I learn Python 2? It's because let's look at this code. It's so long, right? Okay, if we count how many lines, okay, we can see that there are 22 lines, right? Not very convenient. Okay, let's rewrite this whole thing into okay, so let's rewrite this whole thing into Python. Okay, I don't think I have Python 2, so yeah, I have. So let's just convert to Python 2. Okay, so I think I'll just use the Vim editor. I think the coloring is much better than the JAWS editor. Okay, maybe I should tune my JAWS editor. Okay, otherwise it's very difficult to look at it. So how can Python make things simpler? Okay, Python makes things simpler by okay, there's no need to define any type. Okay, so yeah, functions are as simple as something like this. Okay, so let's change define this thing to okay, right, we don't have this, and okay, if we want to follow Python's lead, our C language lead, then we need to write something like this. Okay, so yeah, okay, so this is the command is not the same. Okay, command in Python is using sharp, but I don't have to declare all these things. Okay, so what I need to do now is just print print this thing. Okay, so syntax is slightly different. Okay, and for what? For I in range of 7, and this is the calculation, and then okay, I need to print out the estimate. Okay, so yeah, okay, and that's it. I mean, it's so short. That's why I learned Python. Right, okay, it makes a lot of the calculations much simpler. Okay, it's complaining that my print has some problem. What sort of problem did I get into? Line number 7. It tells me the syntax is wrong. Okay, so I think, is it because my tab Doesn't seem to be a tech problem. How come it's complaining? Very interesting. So let me remove this thing. We don't actually need that thing to run. So yeah, it still complains that it's because of my syntax has problem. How can that be? Oh, okay, yeah. Really sorry about it. I should be using Python 2 to run this thing, not Python 3. Okay, of course, in Python 3 that is wrong. Okay, so Python 2, basically it's much shorter, and okay, with the faster computer, okay, Python is good enough for a lot of things. So yeah, okay. So that's why I learned Python, okay, which I need it in my work to do quite a few calculations, okay, sometimes to verify my results. Okay, I think when Ubuntu came along, okay, it started by providing free CD, okay, to a lot of institutions, okay, to encourage people to just install it. Okay, it's based on Debian, and okay, I think at the time internet start to be blooming. Alright, okay, so after installing Ubuntu, connecting using just the ADSL, okay, at the time we still use ADSL connection, it's still reasonable, okay, to get all the package installed and update. So yeah, it's really nice. Okay, and in the beginning, Ubuntu is using GNOME 2, okay, with GTK2, right? It's sort of like Windows 95, okay, for those of us who have been in the era of Windows 95, actually likes it. Okay, and yeah, okay. I think tech is also ending its life. Okay, a new tech distribution called Tech Live started around the time as well. Okay, so I also changed to Tech Live, much larger than the tech, but yeah, because I think it includes a lot more things. I think Lua Tech, Z Tech, okay, also started probably around the time. Okay, so yeah, okay, so I think yeah, during the time I already used the Python 2 for quite a few calculations which I need. So okay, so until now we have a lot of many different scripting tools, but I think in modern Linux, okay, Bash is still the basic scripting tool which I would be using. Okay, because it's for me who actually just learn Unix shell scripting in the old days. Okay, find it extremely convenient. Okay, much more convenient than using Python and R for simple things. Okay, when combining with GNU core utilities and so on and so forth. Okay, it's really just too convenient. Okay, a more complicated numeric calculations or something like this. Okay, yeah, okay. I mean, these are university stuff, right? So anything related to this, then I'll be probably using Python. Okay, and for modern days, people talk about data processing. Okay, anything to do with statistical analysis these days, I would just go for R. Okay, which is I find it's much more convenient compared even to Python. Okay, so that's all.